Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second NEWGATE S.P.A. investor presentation. Throughout this presentation, investors will be in listen-only mode. Questions encouraged and can be submitted any time via the Q&A tab situated on the right-hand corner of the screen. Simply type in your question and press send. The company may not be in a position to answer every question it receives during the meeting itself. However, the company will review all questions submitted today and publish responses where it's appropriate to do so. These will be available via your Investor Meet Company dashboard, and you'll be notified once they're ready for your review. We'd also like to remind you that this presentation is being recorded. Before we begin, we'd like to submit the following poll. I'd now like to hand you over to Fiorenzo Talibo, CEO, Emma Kane, Deputy CEO and CEO of NEWGATE UK, and Sergio Penna, Deputy Group Financial Officer. Good afternoon, and Fiorenzo, thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I wish to thank you for accepting the invitation of Arden and joining this meeting. It's a pleasure for me to meet some former colleagues and one still current one, Adam Lloyds. I'd like to make a very short introduction before leaving the floor to Emma Kane and Sergio for the presentation. Emma, as many of you know, is one of the group's 3 deputy CEOs, while Sergio acts as a group CFO. Our stock is listed on AIM market since about 5 years. Our debut was on 26th of July 2016. During the last couple of months, the stock grew substantially. Nevertheless, my opinion is that it's still underestimated. It was listed at 1.50 pence. Today is 76 pence. During these 5 years, many things happened. I want to very shortly remind 5 of them. The first one, our revenues soared from 18.5 million in 2016 to 65.5 million at the end of 2020, and this does not account the acquisition made in Germany on 22nd of 2020. Second, our PBT, profit before taxes, was 700,000. All the figures I am quoting are in euros in 2016, and is a bit less of 3 million euros at the end of 2020. Our people was 2026. Today, our co-workers are 596. In 2016, the Italian market accounted for 54% of the turnover. Today, it is only worth 15.6%, and this despite the significant growth of more than 1.5 million euros we recorded in Italy. In 2016, we ranked at the 87th position in the worldwide ranking. In 2020, we entered the top 30. Now we have 2 main priorities, because it's important what it's happened in these years, but it's also perhaps more important what it should happen in the coming years. We have 2 main priorities. The first one, in terms of balance sheet, we are focused on increasing our profitability to boost our cash generation. In terms of business, the priority is the American market, which represent by far the main market of our industry. As many of you know, among the first 30 PR groups at worldwide level, the first 22 are American. And we are strongly committed to achieve both these targets. Thanks again, and I leave the floor to Emma for the presentation. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Fiorenzo, and hello, everybody. So today we're going to give you a quick presentation on why we believe that this is a diversified, dynamic growth opportunity. If I may, I will just start. We'll take you through what we do, our story so far, the progress since the merger, and then the financials I'll hand over to Sergio before just summing up with the opportunity. So what we do. We are an insights-driven global strategic communications group. So we're the people you come to with an opportunity to seize or a problem to solve. And we do this using communications, advocacy, and research. And we're able to do this seamlessly across all the different disciplines in that area. And here is just a sort of a small offering of the different elements that make up those campaigns. So whether it is leadership positioning, research, as I said, everything starts with those insights and that research, or the government relations, we can pull together the best team to meet your needs to help you achieve positive outcomes. And so our story so far, it's been 30 years in the making and started, as Fiorenzo alluded to, back in 1989 in Milan. And it was in 2013 that the first acquisition happened outside Italy, and that was an acquisition of Coimbra in Brussels, a very important element of our group today, and we'll come back to Coimbra as a case study. By 2015, SEC were market leaders in Italy, and in 2016 listed on the London Stock Exchange. In 2019, there was the merger with NEWGATE and the creation of SEC NEWGATE. And as Fiorenzo said, the important milestone of ranking 30th in the global league tables happened in 2020. We launched our AI proprietary reputation assessment tool in 2020. And in midway through last year, despite the pandemic, started up our operations in the US, which was to create the foundation for the growth plans that we have there. In December 2020, there was this investment in a majority stake in Orca in Germany. In 2021, at the start of this year, we merged our two largest UK businesses, Newgate Communications and Newington Communications. And then yesterday, we opened SEC Newgate CEE, so Central Eastern Europe. So this is our story so far. We sort of feel like we've only just really begun. It's a very exciting time for this group. So this is what our footprint looks like today. We have about 600 people across 37 offices, in 15 countries and 5 continents. And so whatever the time zone, we are able to work around the clock for our clients, managing things such as issues management or integrated campaigns. So returning to that progress since the merger between SEC and the Newgate companies. So what we've done is really been looking at how we can address some of the things that we need to sort out to positively impact our stability and performance. So right at the outset, we developed a 3-year strategic plan. And we've been delivering against that. And this is a rolling 3-year plan. So we have since done our next 3 years, and we have been delivering against that. So we put in place the new governance structure to do that, taking advantage of the local expertise, but this sort of the global oversight, and so that we can share best practice around our footprint. We've significantly strengthened our balance sheet, and we've returned to profitability. SEC had a 30-year profitable trading history. The same was not the story for Newgate, but we now are, as a group, profitable. And we have achieved significant cost savings and synergies across all our operations. The consolidation of the London agencies into one shared space has delivered some really significant savings there too. And in terms of our growth, in every area, we've been looking at ways that we can work very much as one team rather than in lots of different silos, and extending our global reach. And we've got some really good examples of how we've been doing this. And then I think one of the most significant steps in the recent past is the creation of this one brand, SEC NEWGATE. And by the end of this current financial year, all our operations, with a couple of very tiny exceptions, but will be under that SEC NEWGATE brand. So that is being rolled out at the moment. And that will really help us in terms of delivering this seamless integrated offering. So why is this scale important? Fiorenzo mentioned that we had gone into the top 30 when we merged the two groups. Well, it gives us really significant commercial advantage. So we are much more likely to be invited to pitch for some of the global accounts because we are there. We have the ability now to cross-sell our services to clients across their footprint. So on the right-hand side are some of the clients that are either current retainer clients or ones that we have been actively doing projects with. And some of those, if you take somebody such as ED&F Man that operates in over 50 countries, we have been able now to leverage the opportunities that we have, or that they have, to help them with our different agencies, whether it's in South America or in the UK. And we have launched our proprietary tool, True. And again, this is something that we see will help us increase our revenues. Similarly, the rollout of our research project, research capabilities. In terms of the key talent that we look to attract and retain, having a global footprint and the opportunity for people once travel is allowed again to work in other offices and learn from their colleagues around the footprint is something that we believe is very appealing. And we've also been able to invest in different technologies and things that as an individual sort of smaller business we wouldn't have been able to do. And then comes with it the diversification of our revenues and that client base and the exposure to potential risk. So even during this pandemic, we have, our businesses in some areas have really enjoyed significant growth and great improvement in their bottom line. Others have had sort of more of an impact, but as a whole, we are much better as this larger, more diversified group. Handing over now to Sergio, who'll just talk about the sort of financial impact post merger.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining the meeting. And yes, as Emma said, let's show now some performance post-merger data, starting from the annualized saving that are more or less 1.75 million. And they include 500,000 euro from audit cost, London Stock Exchange fees, and cost of administrative staff that naturally are now less talking about the group level after the merger, 250,000 euro from the consolidation of the Newington office, because now we have one entity in UK, and 1 million which we are expecting from an office reorganization, and we already had in part from the UK office reorganization, because it was the only place where we had an overlap between let's say the SEC agency and the NEWGATE agency. So that was the first effect post-merger. Of course, the first year after the merger was also the year of the COVID-19 outbreak pandemic in February, March 2020. And we were ready to react, and we had cost saving for 1.44 million euro, which in part are 486,000 of not refundable government assistance, because we were ready to study everywhere we have an office, the different government support that we could have, and we achieved a great result on that. And also we had 393,000 of cost saving consisting of rent reduction for 105,000, 288,000 of other permanent spending cuts to office, events, marketing, travel, and entertainment, and 561,000 euro of deferred payment. Part of this cost saving were, let's say, forced by the situation, for instance, the travel and entertainment, but the most important part was the great effort performed by the group as a whole, paying a lot of attention in all the not relevant and not urgent costs, and we really had a strong impact of the cost saving that was also one of the main driver of the profit before tax we had at year end. So basically trading during COVID-19, which is still ongoing, it's the most important thing is that we achieved the management forecast. We had the largest business units perform strongly, and it's important to say that we achieved a management forecast we made before the pandemic. So we were ready to react and made a good result that was in line with the forecast. And still we have a firm action on the control cost, which is going to stay and to last also after the 2020, 2021, and the next upcoming years. A new approach, let's say. Let's move on a geographic expansion. We always look for an earning enhancing acquisition when we talk about M&A operation. That was the global network was built over the last 30 years, as explaining at the beginning of this presentation. And of course, we have a focus at the moment on the US market, which is crucial for us. As Fiorenzo said, the most important group are having business in the US, and this is the most important focus for us. For this kind of acquisition, we can work in partnership with Simest, which is an investing fund owned by the Italian government, which is called Cassa Depositi e Prestiti, the entity which works with that, whose scope is to support internationalization and growth of medium-sized companies outside the European Union. And they can provide 49% of the equity with a return which is in 8 to 16 years with a very low interest rate. So it's a great partner for us. And it is important to say that when Siemens approach a potential partner, is because this partner, and in this case, the SEC NEWGATE Group, has the quality to have this kind of operation with them. The other market where we look for an expansion is Asian market, where we start in the Far East, our presence in the last few years. But again, we look for a potential acquisition. Again, we can also go in partner with Siemens of that. We look to in finding our affiliate partners network, because we also have a list of affiliate partners and company. And of course, when we talk about M&A operation, as we did in the UK, cost synergies will be targeted at operational level and growth even through this cross-border marketing. Of course, when we look for M&A, for an acquisition, we know that, for instance, if we increase our presence in the US, we will also have, let's say, a side effect on the European market or in the Far East. So, and we can have cost synergies as we had in UK. Our typical structure is that we work on the EBITDA, and we approach the acquisition using a multiple that's from 3 to 6 times of the EBITDA. And this is a key point for our group. We aim to the 51% of the shares owned by the group, because we really look to work together with the local partner. We aim to keep the local partner involved with a relevant amount of shares. For this reason, we also propose usually an earn-out which is over 3 to 5 years. So we have the shares of the local partner and also a 3 to 5 years earn-out horizon. That is again another guarantee that we will work together with our local partner and the local company we're going to buy. And of course, we focus on the retention of the underlying management, because we work in a people business, and this is important to keep the key managers with us. Since the merger, so let's say in the second part of 2020, which was where the company was working as a group, we established SEC NEWGATE US through a joint venture in the United States with an existing company generating a new a NewCo, which for the first time made the SEC NewGate group expand the footprint in the United States. So that happened in July. And in the second part of the year, we also, this is another important operation we already mentioned, we acquired the majority stake of Orca Affairs, which is a very important group which is operating in Germany. They made more or less 13 million of revenues in 2020, and we look, of course, to enhance our earning structure and our group with this very important operation, while the new office in Morocco is now part of our affiliate partners, and this is the way we are going to expand. So you can see US, Europe at the moment, and of course Far East, as I said at the beginning. So the progress since merger is still ongoing while we work as a group now. Yes, Emma mentioned at the beginning of our acquisition list, the acquisition we made in Brussels, which was Cambre, which is a leading advocacy and communication consultancy agency based in Brussels, which you can understand how important is Brussels and Belgium for our kind of business, the PR and the political relationship. The acquisition was to increase our key strategic presence in Brussels, and of course also add the client list of Brussels to us. The acquisition was made with 5 times the EBITDA in different steps, so in line with what I said before. 2013 we bought the 60% of the company. 2016 we bought the other 10%, and now after a share consolidation we have 76% of the shares. So we spent 1.76 million and now 0.39 million in 2013 and 2016. In 2020 Cambre contributed with the 7% of the group gross profit and 27% of the group PBT, which in numbers are 4 million of gross profit and 700,000 euro of PBT. So we spent more or less 2 million. We already have 4 million of GP from Cambre.
Thank you very much, Sergio. Innovation is one of the core pillars of our strategic plan, and True is the proprietary, innovative reputation monitoring and assessment system that we have created. It operates in 5 languages, and it brings together a whole range of different dimensions and business relevant issues. And it continually monitors these to create a sort of reputational index on a continuous basis. It was launched in Italy in 2020, and it'll be launched in the UK later this year, and then rolled out across the other geographies. I believe the Spanish-speaking ones will be shortly after that. And it pulls in not just the sort of print and online media, but social media and feeds from different central and regional institutions. And the basic business model for it is there is a €50,000 setup fee and then €120,000 per annum cost, providing licenses and across a range of different, for a number of different consultants. And not only is this for all new clients, but also is a standalone product for non-clients. I like to see it as a bit of a Trojan horse there. But so this is something that has been worked on with two of the world's leading universities in the area of AI. Similarly, in terms of research forms 20% of our Australian agency's revenues, and is a really superb team and fully independently accredited market and social research business. And this has now been rolled out to the UK and will be rolled out beyond there. As I say, research and insights are the sort of foundation of all our campaigns. So there's a whole raft of different types of research that the team is able to offer, everything from supporting in crisis communications projects, round the clock rapid responses to public opinion polling. They've been a key part of in Australia, the sort of the public's response to COVID and so on. If you do media searches, you'll see Newgate Research has been doing a lot of work in that area. Community attitudes towards major infrastructure projects and so on. So that is an area that we think is an area of key growth for us going forwards. Right, heading into the financials now. Sergio, pick up again.
Yes, let's say that 2020 is the first year where we have the full effect of the group, because the merger happened in September 2019, so the 2019 was only partially affected by the full group business. So let's focus on 2020, where we delivered 65 million of revenues with 56 million of gross profit, which is of course the revenues less the pass-through cost. And gross profit is for us one of the most important indicator, and we had a growth rate of 5% that is in line with our forecast, with our initial forecast. Our operating profit was 4.8 million of euro, and the PBT, the profit before tax, was 2.96, with a rate PBT over a gross profit of more than 5%. That again is in line with our forecast. The net debt is 13.58 million, and is influenced also by the lease we have due to the IFRS 16 effect. And the net cash, we have the net cash from operating activities. We have an inflow of more than 5 million, which I think is one of the most important indicator we have, especially if compared with the outflow we had in the past, in the first half of 2019, combining the two different groups before the merger. So it is very important, our trend, and the fact that we are respecting our forecast and that we are profitable, especially in 2020, which was a very difficult year and unexpected, of course, for everybody. And as anticipated by Fiorenzo at the beginning, we are now really at the geographical level. You can see the split between UK, Australia, mainland Europe, and Italy, where we have 24.9, 23, 30, or 15.6%, which means that our presence on the market is very global. There are no individual client revenues are greater than 2% of the group revenue, so we have not this kind of concentration risk, as it's called in financial language. Top 20 clients represent, let's say, only 16% of the group revenue, and there is no dominance in any sector or country. As I said, the country is we have a split among the 4 important markets, and also Far East, Latin America, and also the United States, which are growing lately. And also the revenue by service, we have a good balance between the communication and the PR, which is the 53% of the revenues, and advocacy and public affairs with 38%, and other integrated service with 9% of the revenues.
So finally, just before we start picking up the questions, in summary, the opportunity really is that we are positioned at the high growth, high margin end of the communication spectrum, with the diversified revenue stream. We believe that our scale and growing geographic reach is key to our future success, and we'll always try and seek earnings and accretive acquisitions. The cash flow is something that there's been a major focus on, and that we believe now is strong and consistent, and we have a strong earnings growth potential too. One of the key areas where we have a lot of room to exploit is the fact that we have 1,521 client accounts. And so there's significant cross-selling opportunities. So just to give an example, with the first time I went to Milan as the combined business, Fiorenzo introduced me to one of his clients who'd been a property client for 15 years. And we came away from that lunch with them having given us a project to do in the UK on the corporate side. We did that. They then let us expand that into the financial, and then that moved into a retainer. So the initial project worked out at about £60,000 a year, and we've grown it from there. That's just one out of the 1,521 accounts. And there have been many, many other examples where, because of our footprint, we can now support our clients with similar geographic footprints, or that need just to for example, Newington, has a very, very strong digital team. And we found that huge growth now with our clients wanting to buy a lot more of their micro-targeting skills. So it's really, we've even if we didn't win another individual client, we've got so much potential sitting already within the group. And we have a very clear strategic plan, which we've delivered against even during COVID-19. And, I think this, having a clear sight of the direction of travel, despite the fact that we've all had a very difficult year, we've managed to achieve our goals. And the unified brand, by the end of this year, all the key elements of the group will be SEC Newgate, rather than lots of sort of more fragmented brands. I think will be very important to the future success. But that concludes the initial part of this and our presentation. Thank you very much. We'll now take questions, and the first question is, how are you targeting the US expansion? Will you look to achieve this through M&A or look to expand organically? Fiorenzo, perhaps you would like to talk about the US. You'll need to unmute.
Yes, we have, as we told before, a company in US already, a startup we did in July 2020, New York and Washington, which is working very well. We are absolutely satisfied, but we are at the same time aware that American market is too much strategical for us, and we cannot wait 5 years or 10 years to become a significant player on that market. So we are looking around if there are opportunities for us to grow quicker and better. We are doing this work with Emma, who is in charge of Americas, and so this is one of her main tasks, and I'm sure that we will achieve it very well, and also in a reasonable time.
Thank you, Fiorenzo. And I think it's very important to add that the team that's in the US is really superb, as Fiorenzo said. So they also have a really good working relationship with a lot of the other key market players. So having that existing foundation there, as well as M&A activity, I think is going to be a winning combination. The next question: you have some great clients. Do you win new business from them by acting for them in different geographic regions in which they operate? Maybe if I can just start off with that one. We are increasingly looking at how we can support our international clients with their needs in different markets. We don't want to hit everybody in one go. We're basically working on a per team basis to see where our clients' needs are, what particular services they might need, where they're looking maybe to consolidate it to one agency rather than a number of agencies, and so on. So yes, it is a great opportunity for us, because of the ability to support them across, corporate and financial, and specific sector expertise and digital and so on. We can help them in a number of different areas in the same countries and in different regions. I don't know whether Fiorenzo, you want to add anything more there?
Yeah, just a little thing. We are creating just in these weeks a marketing office at central level, selecting and hiring a marketing group manager in order to increase what Emma was saying, and to boost our offer at a real international level. Today we have many opportunities of intercompany business. I think every week we have 1-2 opportunities to serve different clients in different markets. What the step we should do now is to be able to take part in international pitch for many markets, and this is part of the job that this new group marketing manager will do in the coming months.
Absolutely, thank you. Next question is, can you expand on how your revenues break down between recurring and project-based, and how you will how will you use your new technology offerings to attract new clients? So, Sergio, perhaps if you take the revenues between recurring and project-based.
It is average 70% recurring and 30% project, which is also why it is a strong forecast. When we do a forecast, we know 70% of our upcoming revenues. And I leave the floor to Fiorenzo for the new technology.
Yeah. This is a very interesting opportunity we have, because we did this investment in artificial intelligence, taking advantage of a very significant tax discount provided by our government. We have been working on this project since 3 years. Now we are still projecting new tools, also using the same artificial intelligence platform, and we want to increase our capability in using technologies in PR industry, because I think that we can improve our consultancy capabilities and our services for our client, helping them to read, to analyze data, which are every day even more important for companies, in order to better understand their clients, to better check if their services or products are working or not, and so on.
Thank you, Fiorenzo. And a question regarding the percentage of revenues / gross profit that's accounted for by minority interests, and how that basically can. Sorry, this is a question covering a different platform, and how that might change depending on the. Well, actually, Sergio, perhaps you can just set out why we break it out at the PBT level, but not in terms of the attributable and non-attributable elements.
So basically just to explain the split between group and minorities, correct, Emma? So of course we have 2 main indicators, which are gross profit and PBT, and we split usually the PBT and the profit after tax, of course, which is the final result we have between group, between owners and minorities. And at the moment we are in 76, 67 and 30, 33. Let's say that the average is 70% and 30%, which is our aim for the next few years. So that's the reason why we believe that it's the most important indicator to split, because it's the final result that is going to be distributed to the owners or to the minorities. So for this reason, we split the PBT and not the revenues, also because it's not easy to split the revenues between minorities and owners. Hope I replied to the question.
I would like to add just one word to this point, because for us to have some minorities is part of our strategy. And what is interesting, it was the same for SEC and for NEWGATE, because when I approached the NEWGATE, I discovered that the main companies of the former NEWGATE group had each of them an important minority, which from my point of view was a point of strength, because having minority means that or the startupper of those companies or the seller of those companies are still contributing to develop their own business, and through this contributing to the growth of the entire group. So I think that for a business people, this is not a secondary point, but it is a primary one, because with this approach we can be sure that also after our acquisition, after 1, 2, 3, 5 years, we can continue to grow our business in all the markets where we operate. It would be impossible to manage a business in Latin America from Milan or from London if you don't have there some people directly involved in the business.
Great, thank you very much, Lorenzo. A question about how might your minorities move? I think that means in terms of, the changes in percentages, yeah.
Yes, let's say that we closed 2020 with 63 and 37 split, as I said. So it's 63 the owners, of course, and we aim to move to 70% and 30% to doing the acquisition of other part of the shares of the companies we have or new companies. So this is the way it's going to move. So the minorities is going to decrease in the next few years.
In July, for instance, this year we will increase our participation in France.
In France.
This will bring to 70-30% the split between.
Yes. France, Australia are already on the pipeline for 2021.
Great, thank you. Your next question, your company broker is forecasting flat operating profits for the next few years, yet there must be some subnormal gross margins across your business. And then asking whether it would not be possible to achieve mid-teens operating profit to gross profit margin, and if not, why not? I think the fact is that the forecasts don't include acquisitions. I think that's and
it's organic.
Yes, all organic. And also in terms of the margin, it is very much a focus in terms of improving the margins, but I think there's been a lot of uncertainty at the time we're doing it with COVID and so on. So we're being prudent, but I think us saying much beyond that, I don't know whether you want to add.
At organic level, we aim to grow 5% at least every year at organic level, and at the moment we have 4% of PBT compared to the gross profit, and we aim to increase much more the PBT over the GP level over the next 3 years.
Right. I'm just sorry. I think that's it from all the questions.
I think you have actually covered all the questions there, and I think if any further questions do come in through investors, you will have the opportunity to review those post event. Perhaps on that basis, Fiorenzo, I could just ask you for a few final words just to wrap up before we redirect investors to give you some feedback, please.
Sorry?
If I could just ask you for a few final words just to close the meeting, please.
Oh yes, excuse me. But first of all, thank you for attending. Thank you for your questions, which were quite interesting. I think that I hope that you can keep on looking at our group, at our stock with interest. I am sure that it will preparing interesting surprises for each of us. And so let's go on together.
Fantastic. Fiorenzo, thank you. Emma, Sergio, thank you very much indeed for updating investors today. Could I please ask investors not to close the session, as you'll be automatically redirected for the opportunity to provide your feedback. If you've accessed the meeting from our website, the feedback page will appear. But if you've accessed the meeting via the link sent in the email, you'll be asked just to log back in to deliver your feedback. It only takes a few moments and be greatly appreciated on behalf of the company. On behalf of the management team of SEC NEWGATE S.P.A, we'd like to thank you very much for attending today's presentation. That now concludes today's session. Thank you very much and good afternoon.
Okay.